everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Allison Smith. If you're new here, I'm a pianist and a piano teacher, and thanks so much for tuning in. Today I wanted to talk about a very important question. It's all about, what do I listen for when I'm listening to piano music? And to answer this question, we have to talk about two different types of listening. There's passive listening and there's active listening. Passive listening is very easy to understand. When you're cooking a meal in your house and you're just putting on background music. Or when you're in the car, you're just turning on the radio just so that you have some enjoyment while you're on the drive. Well, when you're active listening, it's a little bit different. Sometimes maybe you might pull up a YouTube video and have something called a scrolling score. It's where you hear maybe a pianist and he's playing your music and you see the score going by as he's playing. Kind of like in the video just now when you saw me reading that and I was playing at the same time and the score was scrolling, right? Well, I'm looking at this piece right here. Hamelin plays Gershwin's songbook. Hamelin is a Canadian virtuoso. And I am going to be looking at how he interprets the same pieces I've been playing, like I'll Build a Staircase to Paradise, The Man I Love, Fascinating Rhythm, and the one I just played, Nobody But You. I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about as I'm actively listening to these pieces. I'm looking for a couple different things. I'm looking for how he approaches dynamics, aka loud versus soft. How loud does he do things? How soft does he do things? I'm looking for different types of articulation. For example, staccato versus legato. How short does he take certain things, and how legato does he make things? I'm looking for tempo, speed. I'm seeing how much does he slow down? Does he go fast in certain sections? I'm looking for different accents. Does he take these accents strongly? How does he approach accents? And those are some of the things I'm looking for when I'm about to be listening to this music. I'm going to show you how I listen to this music. All right, let's look at this. Okay, the first one I'm going to be looking at is Nobody But You. If I had to be as succinct as possible, when I listened to that, I thought of how delicate he approached this piece. He did use a lot of accentation near the beginning, especially when he went on that downward line, in measures 3 to 4. But then he didn't approach accents so heavily towards the middle of the section. That's where he accented. But then you would have thought he would have continued it, but he started getting more delicate. That's a hard accent. I noticed to do that accent, he slowed down. Da 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 da. It's kind of like when someone is talking really slow and you're hanging on the edge of your seat to find out what they're saying. That's a type of accent, when you slow down to give attention to something else. Even though he didn't press on it that hard, he still accented it in his tempo choice. He did the same thing right there. Da 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 da. Right there. Da 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 da. And then he took a lot of time to get this last note. That last note has an accent, but he started treating accents differently throughout the piece. he did the whole forceful, or he hit the hammers a little faster, but now he's using accents as changing in tempo. So he waited for that last note. And he made it very soft, which is kind of unusual. And it is interesting because the instructions for this piece is to play it capriciously. That means unexpectedly. So that is kind of unexpected that he would play that last note as almost like a murmur. All right, those are some thoughts that I had about Nobody But You. Let's jump on over to another piece I've played in the past. I'll Build a Staircase to Paradise. This is completely different. Much more forceful. I'll point out something that I thought was interesting in this piece. It's when he was at a forte, a very loud volume, but then he really nicely switched to piano, and that's what I took away from this recording. So this was loud, and then he really made that sound, and then he went right back to loud. And then he started taking his time in this section right here. He had a lot of space between these two quarter notes. Bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Right here. Bum, ba-da-da-da-da. He didn't just jump bum, ba-da-da. He went bum, ba-da-da-dum. So I noticed that. And then I also noticed how slow he took this part. Da da dum ba dum bum, and he even added a little bit of a grace note. And of course, I see that ritardando, but I didn't take it quite as slow as he did. So that's something that's informing my perspective about this piece. Da dum bum, and then he accented this. That's pretty interesting. All right, let's moving over to Swanee, which I've played in the past. Right off the bat, after listening to that first page, he kept his left hand very light, though he could have been prone to really having a heavy hand like I did. I had a pretty heavy, I was like boom, 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 but he kept it very, very light. So that way he gave a lot of prominence to that melody. I'll listen to that again. Bum, 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 shh, 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 on that left hand. I noticed how smooth that line was. Mine was a little bit choppy. Whoa, that was a really nice slowdown. Did you hear that? Wow, that was really nice. Yeah, and he didn't really quite slow down the end too much, but in the middle he did. That's interesting too. And for something like this, if I wanted to get that exact slowdown, I would figure it out where he did that, circle it in my book, and then take it over to the piano. Let's keep moving forward. Let's look at Fascinating Rhythm. Right off the bat, I'm noticing he accented his second note. Ba-bum, ba-bum. That's what I'm noticing. Yeah, did you hear it? Ba-bum. Yeah, I heard that. Ba-dum, ba-bum. Even that, da-dum, ba-bum. He's accenting that second one more prominently. And now it's interesting. I've already listened to this, so I've already kind of thought about it, how I wanted to explain this. But it was like a train going nonstop, right? But then he switches to this caramel, like flowy line, and you'll hear that. He really took care for that A flat. Doom, bum, bum, bum. He took a little bit of time. It was subtle, but I noticed it. Every time that first note, boom, I can really hear that first note. Listen to his accents. I noticed that. I loved his swell. He didn't quite accent that as well. That's what I'm noticing overall from this whole series on listening to all these pieces. He's very light with his octaves, where I can be kind of bombastic, and I'm working on that. Now I'm noticing with that line, it says mezzo piano, so he's going into this very loud. But that kind of makes sense because though he's going into this section where it says mezzo piano, it also says diminuendo. So he can't obviously have that loud. He can't have that soft, because if he starts out soft, where is he going to get softer to? Nothing, right? So there has to be a point where he has to make this loud and then get softer and softer and softer. So even though this says mezzo piano, that's why everything is relative, right? Boom! That's how loud that mezzo piano was. And then he took his time before that. So certain things that I'm noticing within all of these performances, he's very light with his octaves, very free and easy. He really pays attention to how he differentiates his accents. He pays attention to how loud something gets, how soft. These are just basic things that can inform your overall music understanding. And also, the other thing about listening to these pieces is it gives you the oral memory of the piece. I had a student yesterday, and he's working on memorizing his piece for the recital, which is coming up very soon. And I asked him to sing me, like hum me at least, his piece that he claimed he memorized. And he gave me the answer, well, I can sing it when I'm playing it. And I said, no, you're supposed to be able to sing it even while you're not playing it. You should be able, I think it was da da bum ba da ba ba da ba ba bum bum ba ba da ba da bum bum ba da bum bum. He should be able to sing his piece out loud. And so if you're constantly filling yourself with this stuff, you can get an overall sense of, you can be able to play it like on replay in your mind without actually playing it on the piano. So being able to have that oral memory of how it actually goes, what the right notes sound like. Maybe you're playing the wrong notes, and so if you listen to the recording, you can say, oh, that sounds different than when I was playing. And then you realize you were playing the wrong note the whole time. So just informing your own understanding of how this piece actually goes, what kind of performance practice that people do. Maybe you're playing a Baroque period piece and you've been playing it like the Romantic period. Then you know, oh, you need to change something, right? Sometimes things are not always obvious because we're constantly growing as pianists. So being able to listen well, notice things, being acute to certain things, is really important. So these are just basic things that I look for when I'm listening to piano music. Now I'm going to go practice some of those things and maybe add some differences to that Nobody But You that you listened to earlier. Maybe be a little bit less bombastic. I'm working on it, but we're all growing, right? So don't beat yourself up, but definitely learn from the mistakes by listening to people who are better than you. Here's the key. Don't be the smartest person in the room, especially when we live in the age of AI and digital revolution where YouTube is just here and you can listen to Lang Lang if you wanted to, right? Lang Lang practices night and day. So why not listen to the pro or Hamelin, right? He's a Canadian virtuoso. You want to be listening to people who are better than you. And that way you can, what's that cliche quote that everyone says, shoot for the moon and you'll end up for the stars? Well, that's kind of like what you're doing right here. You're listening to Lang Lang or Hamelin or some people who are better than you, and you will end up not like them unless you practice day and night, but you will at least grow a little bit, you know what I mean? By listening to other types of interpretations, you can create your own interpretation that is informed and creative. I hope you guys enjoyed that interesting video on just me chilling out in my house, listening to music and what I'm noticing. So if you guys enjoyed that, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. It really helps my channel. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys later.